you wanted the best, you've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. It's Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the big show. We certainly appreciate you guys. For 16 years and over 2,000 episodes, we're bringing the most smartest, brilliant people on the planet. None of them are me, of course. That's why we have guests on the show, because we need to liven this up and smarten this show up. So we have these brilliant guests that come on the show. Be sure to refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, linkedin.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the TikTokity, and ChrisVossFacebook.com. She is the author of the amazing book that came out called Super Mom, Super Me, Bust Myths to Become a Super You. Jessilyn Persson is on the show with us today. We're going to be talking to her about real estate, how to survive as a couple, how to invest as a couple, and all those great things on the thing. Welcome to the show, Jessilyn. How are you?
Thank you for having me, Chris. I am doing wonderful.
There you go. Give us your .coms. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Discoverlifebydesign.ca, because we are in Canada.
There you go. You mean I shouldn't lead my life recklessly? Is recklessly bad? You're supposed to use design?
What's that? Sorry?
Am I supposed to? So I'm supposed to live my life by design as opposed to living it recklessly?
It might lead to more positive outcomes.
Oh, there you go. Well, that sounds like a good idea. So give us a 30,000 overview of what you do there.
Absolutely. So my husband and I, we partnered together and we created a 90-day program to help individuals and couples build a life by design. And we help them with the wealth side of it. So wealth strategy, and we back that by real estate.
Real estate's kind of a hot thing lately, or at least has been for the last 20 years. There you go. And you guys have a podcast as well that's entitled Life by Design. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
There you go. So people can check out all your stuff there. And then tell us about, I think you've got some offerings on the website where people can get some free stuff.
We sure do. So if you go to discoverlifebydesign.ca/wealth, you can download our wealth guide. Mm-hmm. Of course, our podcast has all kinds of tidbits of information that is on any of the podcast platforms that you usually listen to.
There you go. So you got into this business, and tell us kind of how you grew up, what motivated you, what got you down the road, and what got you into real estate.
Absolutely. So I grew up in a small town, farm actually, outside of a small town, and I hated it. So I moved to the closest, biggest city, got myself an education, and started down the corporate route. Was in the corporate route for years, and then in 2019, I burnt out. I had too much on my plate. And that's when my husband and I decided, all right, let's review our life and see what is working and what we want to change. But we started investing together in 2009. So we've been in real estate for quite a few years now, but with having two young boys and both being in the corporate world and managing a real estate portfolio, it just became not where we wanted to go with our kiddos and our family. So we designed the program, Riches, Relationships, and Real Estate. And we help couples explore and navigate what it's good to invest in wealth and real estate. But we always start with what we call the foundation. So we get in and we do, assessments on values and how you respond to adversity, but we get you to do it individually and then share it with your partner. And then it's interesting how they come together to realize that they might not have known half the stuff about this partner that they've been with for years. And then we get you on the same page with where you are wealth, and then we step into let's build your wealth strategy and plan. Then we'll get you into action to building your wealth so you can live the life you want, whether that's time freedom, location freedom, new job, get rid of a crappy boss. It's just whatever it is for you, we let you, define what that looks like. And it's different for everyone. Like for us, we really wanted time and location freedom so that we can work from anywhere. And then, of course, have the ability to go to our kids' little shows and stuff at school while they're still young and appreciate that before they don't want to hang out with mom and dad.
Yeah. And then you can spend more time with the kids and more time with your loved ones, or not. Some people in COVID found they really didn't want to spend. They're like, I didn't realize how awful you were and how bad I was going to work to avoid you, but now we're divorcing. So that's good. But you guys help married couples kind of through the struggle, the financial navigations, trying to work together as a team, I guess, for real estate.
Yep.
I suppose that can be a challenge because, one thing when you're romantically involved, I mean, that's one thing, but, it's hard to run a business together with your spouse. I mean, just about anybody, whether it's running a business or whether it's working. Like I remember, I don't know, when I was like 20 or something, I saw a Harvard Business Review article that talked about how it's really hard for spouses to work together, either in a job format or any format. And they highlighted some different stories. There were some pilots that work together as a married couple. And there's very few married couples that can really kind of navigate it. I'm sure with your help they can do better. But, without any help, it's a tough road because, you're stacking a lot onto a relationship. It's already bad enough you have to live with that person and see them every morning. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Being a single guy crap. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. It was a little bit of a long, hard road. Mm-hmm. And that was our real estate investment portfolio because we had separate careers, so we could go to our office for that getaway, as you explained. But even coming together to figure out our real estate portfolio, it's because it's still a business decision in the end when we're building it. And there were a lot of hoops and things we had to jump through and figure out. And one of the biggest ones was communication. I wasn't the communicator. I openly admit that now that I realize it. My husband would chat, and I'm like, let's just get crap done. Like, why do we need to talk about it?
Yeah. The damn thing.
Exactly. But as we learned to navigate, and I had a goal when we bought our first property together in 2009, our first investment property, I was like, I'm going to buy a new property every 2 years. But I didn't share that with him. And I guess that's something I should have. And then in 2016, he came home from work one day and he's like, that's it. I can't manage any, because he's the property manager. He goes, I can't manage anymore.
Oh.
And in my head, I'm like, yes, you can. Like, we got to build wealth for our family.
So you were out buying stuff that he had to work on.
Yeah.
And that's funny. That's hilarious. But, this is a thing that people don't really probably think through. How do we, I've done that with companies where I've put a bunch of work up. The employees like, hey, you need to get some more employees, dummy. Yeah, that's always the thing. But communication is really important. I think a lot of people struggle with that in like just normal relationships. That or, they get, life gets in the way, kids get in the way. I don't know how parents do it when they get kids and they're trying to juggle all the balls and you're going 100 miles an hour at that point through life with no sleep pretty much. Yep. So there's the fun and joy of that. Some people call it children. I call it no sleep. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just being funny. So what are some other things that you tend to find people are struggling with in, being a couple and trying to real estate invest?
I think one of the biggest things is lack of education and understanding the real estate market because it's vast, right? Like, you name it, there are so many different ways you can invest in real estate and they just don't know where to start or how to get started. Mm-hmm. And then it's one thing to not know, but if you and your partner aren't even on the same page about how you want to invest. Mm-hmm. So the big thing that we really work on in our program is what we call your sleep at night factor. As you mentioned, sleep. So, for example, we invest in suite properties, which I believe the state's called more of a duplex, but we don't do commercial for certain reasons as we've gone down that road. And it's like, why? And people ask us, why not? And it's like, we don't like the long-term no tenant. So if you lose a tenant, generally in commercial, it can take 6-9 months. Yeah. And that's a big cost overhead you got to manage and keep. Whereas with our suite properties, if someone moves out of upstairs, the basement will cover it. But that's our sleep at night factor. Everyone has a different one. And a lot of people don't think of that when they get into real estate. If you don't want to be up at midnight because a tenant had a flood, maybe you need to invest in real REITs, like real estate investment trusts, like funds where you're not active. And people need to, if we can make them very aware of that first, it can save them so much pain later in their investment plan.
There you go. So you got to find you guys help them find the right product that can work for them. Because, there's a million, I don't know if there's exactly a million. I'm just being facetious, people. Some people write me, you said there's a million, there's not. I counted. there's a lot of different variations. In fact, we just had somebody on the show this week where they actually buy mortgage notes themselves, like they own the note.
Yep.
And it's kind of funny. They can have a different negotiating strategy, especially they almost have no foreclosures because they'll negotiate as opposed to just hard foreclose like a bank would.
Yep.
And it gives them more options. And I don't know, from what they were telling me, I'm like, maybe this needs to become a bank thing, because it's not like banks are losing a lot of money just saying screw you and foreclosing. And so it was kind of interesting, but they have a lot of leeway. But yeah, we've had so many different people in all the variants of real estate. I mean, there's RV. We just had somebody on 2 weeks ago who's an RV park investor. And then we've had a few mobile home park investors that have been on the show. I mean, single family, commercial, mobile home, RV. I'm just waiting for somebody just doing like a normal park investing. Does anybody do that? Maybe that's a city thing. That's probably
I don't think there's a good
city county government thing. Maybe they should turn those over to. No, they shouldn't do that. Anyway, people really struggle, I imagine, with these things. And part of your free download of the book people can get on the website help people navigate these issues and things. Am I correct?
Correct. Yes.
There you go. And you just it can make all the difference, because I suppose if one person in the couple maybe chooses a bad investment, you might get angry at each other and end up divorcing because you're like, you bought that, whatever that was, and you made a horrible decision. You didn't check with me.
Yeah, that's actually something else we work on in our program, is actually choosing both sides of the equation, because you're right. A lot of people will invest and they want all the good of it, but if it fails, they haven't accepted that.
Yeah.
Right? So we work them through that. It's okay if you lose money. Are you okay with that? And if you're not, this might not be the investment for you.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like when the kids do something good, they're everyone's kids. When the kids do something wrong, they're one person in the relationship's kids. Your kids did this. It's like they passed through your body. They're still yours. So yeah, I can see why that causes scuffles. I mean, I've had business partners that I was in a relationship with, and you have differences of opinion on how you should invest, return on investment. The haunting of bad investments. Like at one time, you invested in that stupid thing, idiot. It cost us $50,000. Wait, was that me? But yeah, so you help with their mindset. You also help with achieve ideal family life balance, because you're really adding an extra structure, I think, to couple them, where you're adding the business factor of it and the vesting factor of it, and now you're running a business, and that's definitely a challenge. I can barely put up with an hour date with somebody as a single person. You guys are like married for life and then building companies for life or investing for life. So yeah, I don't know. I'm tired already. What do you find else helps people struggle with realizing there's a few different things in your course, gaining insight into your values and overcoming mindset and self-worth barriers? How do those impact?
So a lot of times we find your money mindset comes from your past, your upbringing, your ancestors, your teachers, what you've learned. And you naturally, because they don't teach it in our education systems, at least not in Canada, you naturally default to what you know. And it's generally what your parents did. So it's like, in my generation, we grew up, it's okay, you pay off your mortgage and then you save for retirement. That doesn't get you wealthy. So we work on helping them navigate and understand where their mindset came from, so they can work on moving past it and being okay with whatever it is they want. Because a lot of people have that fear also. If I'm wealthy, but my parents worked hard and they're not wealthy, yeah, but that's choices they made, right? They how they chose to invest it or what they did with their money, that was their choice. That's not you. And it's okay if you want to be a multimillionaire. It's up to you, and you have these tools to do it. But if your mindset is stopping you, you're not going to make the millions. Yeah.
You got to have that mindset. A lot of people have self-limiting beliefs and stuff. Do you recommend that people, what if you have a situation where the spouse is, I don't want to be involved in any of this. I just want to raise the kids and, make food, and I just don't want to deal with all that noise. You do it. Do you recommend that couples do that? Is that bad? Because, maybe if I don't know, something happens to one person that, then they don't know what's going on or how to manage the business. Do you recommend that if people don't want to, join in the fun?
No, we recommend doing it together, and that's for a couple of reasons. Firstly, the whole brainchild of our program actually came out of us attending different real estate rooms and conferences, and everyone would approach us and be like, how do you do it together? My wife's not interested. My husband doesn't want to invest. And so finally, we're after a few years of hearing this over and over, we're like, okay, we got something here. Let's create it. And we also found that while we were aligned, we wanted to invest in real estate as a couple, and we did since 2009. In 2016, we had that breaking point where I mentioned my husband came home and he said he was done, and I was like, no, you're not. And so I signed him up for a program, and he went begrudgingly. I openly admit this, but it was a real estate investment networking group. And after he came home, completely changed his mindset. We bought 3 more properties in 18 months.
There you go.
And so we went from building our wealth to accelerating our wealth when we were actually on the same page and communicated what we wanted that to be. And we just find a lot of individuals, when we talk to them, if the male are investing in the real estate, which predominantly is the men, they're like, my wife has zero interest. She doesn't want to know about it. And you could tell they're bothered because they want to talk about it. They're excited. They want to celebrate when they have wins, but their wife has zero interest. And so we help couples come together to understand that this isn't his wealth. This is a family wealth. And eventually it's going to be a legacy for your children. So as the female or the male, whomever is not really interested, you should be invested, and it will grow bigger. Yeah. Even if you're not super active in it, but you're supporting it and giving an opinion plus perspective, right? Like, we see things differently. What my husband sees, I don't necessarily see. So if he can tell me or explain it, our decisions will shift based on the conversation as opposed to just, I think this is great, let's do it.
Yeah, because there's more insight. You've got more eyes on the problem or issues, or just eyes on everything. And so you're working together as a team as opposed to just a single person trying to juggle it all, as it were. So there you go. One thing you talk about is making clear agreements. Do we need to sign new contracts in the relationship, or
It's funny you mentioned that, because agreements actually are a part of our program, and it's not necessarily like a legal written contract, but what we have, for example, is we started putting agreements in place for everything in our marriage.
Wow.
And it's incredible how much the relationship came together, because now we actually have an understanding. We're not guessing. It's like, are you going to take out the garbage? No, it's in the agreement. You take out the garbage.
So you have an assigned agreement system. What about like the dishes and laundry and stuff?
Yeah, I cook, he cleans.
Ah.
Yeah. The kids can help with the laundry. So we start to bring the kids in as they get older. But even agreements, we have one where it's not written, but we formalized it verbally. It's to push each other. So when I encouraged him to go to that, or I signed him up for that event and he went, he realized I saw potential in him that he didn't. So now we push each other to grow and just keep being a better version of ourselves. But yeah, we have agreements and we talk to the individuals that we coach and the couples we coach. We actually encourage them to put agreements in place for everything, and it takes the guesswork out, and then you don't have to come home to maybe an outrage or a fight because one person had an expectation that the other one didn't meet.
That can be bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
That happens to me all the time over the toilet seat being left up. So there you go. The jokes. Yeah, I could see. Do you think that maybe, a lot of people, they go into relationships and maybe over time communication drops out because they're so busy, chasing kids around and not sleeping, or, just life. You're just trying to maintain, you got bills through the roof, those kids are expensive these days. That's why I'm single and childless. And so do you think that maybe what you help people with to communicate better probably translates over into their personal stuff as well, and maybe makes their relationship a lot more put on a solid footing?
Absolutely.
There you go. So it's you can help people, because I know COVID was really funny. I don't know what funny. I'm not sure funny is the right word, actually, come to think of it. But I know COVID, a lot of people woke up, having to spend more, they couldn't escape to the office anymore. They had to spend time living with each other and looking at each other for the first time for long periods of time and going, what the hell did I do marrying you? Like, what the hell? communication, getting to know each other better, understand each other, working together as a team. Because that's really what marriage is. It's a team effort, right?
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah. It's a team effort. It should be. You're right. I've probably met a lot of people who there's no I in team. So there you go. So you help people design a 90-day action plan. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So once we get through the mindset and make sure you're on the same page with your values and everything, we then start working into an action plan that the couple actually creates. We just guide them. Mm-hmm. And so depending on what their top 3 goals or intentions are, which could be like, for example, one couple we have right now, they want to buy a new house, they want to have a babe, and they want to go on a vacation. That's their future kind of wealth. And so then once they've articulated that, we then get them to break it down over 90 days in small bite-sized pieces that will help them accomplish that. And that could include, for example, if they want a house, okay, so let's line up all the team you need around you to make that happen, like a realtor, a mortgage broker, a lawyer, just to make sure that when you're ready to run, they know your expectations, they know what you're looking for, you know the costs, so you're prepared in advance of what that's going to look like. And then they're just prepared to be able to access and get what it is they want in their wealth plan.
There you go. It really makes a difference. What else haven't we covered that you guys help folks with that we haven't touched on?
Excuse me. So we talk, again, communication is the big one for us. And one of the things we always, almost right off the start, recommend, and we've done it, and we say it can sound really boring. We almost run our marriage like a business. So I know it's not exciting, but it works. Excuse me, we have a preset meeting every week in the calendar. Yep. Wow. And we recommend that all couples do that. And for different topics. So we have one for a relationship, one for finances, and then we have one for what we call family intention, where we bring our boys in to just see where they're at, what their intention for the week is. And then once a week, firstly, it's pre-scheduled, so you can't say you didn't know about it. You can prepare for it if you feel you need to.
You can't say you're not home, because you are.
Exactly. Right. And it gives you that sense of ease for those who maybe don't communicate well, to be like, okay, wait. I got this on my chest, and I know you're busy, so I probably shouldn't interrupt you right now. But I know we have a preset time at 10 a.m. on Sunday or whatever it is to talk about our finances. And again, we encourage them. It's not like, how are our finances? Oh, they're good. We don't know. Get into some granular. Do you think we're on the right path with the goals that we set out for this year? What can we change or make better? So it's an actual conversation. And it's a little hard to get that wheel going, but once you do, it starts to become natural. And then you're having conversations around dinner or maybe during the day where you wouldn't normally, because you just have that fear of either asking it because you don't want to stir the pot, or because you fear your partner's too busy and you don't want to interrupt. But it leaves that space, and then it's like working out. It's a muscle. You work it over time, it'll build.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about being an entrepreneur. Builds over time and gets done. So people can sign up on your website. They can outreach to you. Do you have a book a call where people can see if you're a good fit or anything like that goes on your website?
Absolutely. You can go to our website, and there's a book a discovery call right on there as well. You can do that, and that's for free, as well as our wealth guide, as I mentioned. That's a good starting point.
Yeah, and couples can finally get their wealth off the ground and, of course, learn to work together better. So that's always good. And usually if couples work together better, the kids are happier. So everyone's happier, I think, usually. So
it's true.
It's true. This is why I don't have a joke for that. Enhanced accountability and progress tracking. That's good. So you teach them how to manage the money part and the books and stuff like that, I guess.
Yep. We get them to lay out a current budget, so they know where they stand today, and then a future budget. Okay. If you had this, and whatever that might be. Some people want to upgrade their house or their vehicle or their vacations. What does that look like? And okay, so now we've got a gap. You're here, you want to be here. How do we fill that gap?
There you go. Fill the gaps. That's important, because the gaps sometimes the things you're not sometimes looking at or paying attention to are the ones that'll bite you in the butt. Yep. Because it's like, hey, did no one cover that? Oh, there you go. So as we go out, give people your final pitch out to onboard with you, reach out to you, and .coms and stuff.
Absolutely. So yeah, if you want to increase your wealth, and do it through real estate, we always recommend getting on the same page first or getting yourself educated. And that's a big lesson we learned through our real estate journey, is that had we really understood what a mentor or a coach was back in our day, we could have saved hundreds of thousands of dollars and time in our investing mistakes. But hey, we learned from it, and here we are. You can reach us on Discoverlifebydesign.ca, and you can book a Discover call or go to Discoverlifebydesign.ca/wealth and download our wealth guide. And we'd be happy to help you on your journey to build your wealth into the millions.
There you go. And it's free. If not the billions. The millions and billions. You got to sell the big picture.
The billions? You got to get to the millions before you can get to the billions.
Yeah, you do.
Right.
Yeah, you do. That's what Carl Sagan would say, the billions. So there you go. Thank you very much for coming to the show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
There you go. Thanks to our audience for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss One, the TikTokity, and all those crazy places on the internet. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next time.